Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. One of 4 policemen accused of raping and robbing a female motorist charged. St. Ann principal calls for calm as transport operators intensify protest action. And later in sports, West Indies' first test ends in a draw. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shimela Pullen. Here are the details. One of 4 policemen accused of raping and robbing a female motorist in St. Elizabeth last week has been charged. 22-year-old Constable Alwyn Hill is scheduled to appear in the Home Circuit Court, but no date has been set as yet. Hill is charged with grievous sexual assault, corruptly soliciting, simply larceny, and forcibly abduction. He is represented by attorney Vincent Wellesley. The cop was charged following a ruling by the Director of Public Prosecutions. TVJ News has been informed that Hill's colleagues have been released. Principal of Rio Casa High School, Raymond Treasure, is calling for calm as transport operators intensified protest action this morning. The police and firefighters had to be called to several scenes where fires were lit in sections of St. Ann. Bridges and tree trunks were all set ablaze and used to block roadways in Brownstown and Alexandra St. Ann early Wednesday morning. No one was seen at the blockages, but it's believed that they were part of days of protest by disgruntled taxi operators. The roads were eventually cleared by firefighters and the police, but day 3 of the protest saw several transport operators on strike again. Despite amendments to the Road Traffic Act, the transport operators are still upset about ticket fines. This has left several passengers stranded, including students once again. Principal of Rio Casa High, Raymond Treasure, is upset with operators as he feels school students and administrators were being used.
For the past 2 days, we were out and we said, all right, we'll do online classes. But then on the 3rd day, it was clear that we couldn't continue to work with this arrangement. And so the buses, yes, were held back for a few hours or so in Runaway Bay, Bamboo, and so on. But I made it clear to parents that we were going to relent. We were not going to relent. This morning, we were going to have school. And so today, we are having school face to face.
This man says he's sick. He has to travel hours from Linton Park to the St. Anne's Bay Hospital for treatment. He's unable to make it and he's in discomfort.
I have to turn back and go home on my yard and I cannot bear the pain no longer. Through traffic I cannot reach there. So I don't know what's going on.
So you are stuck here in Brownstown. Tell us about it.
I stuck here from about 7 o'clock till right now. I can't move. I just call to my wife and say, all what I have to do. If I don't get nothing, I have to make a next date. And I cannot bear it no longer.
They're appealing for calm. Mr. Treasure says while he understands the concerns of the transport operators, there's a way to get these issues addressed.
They probably should seek audience with the Member of Parliament so the Member of Parliament can share their views with the Minister of Transport and other government ministers. But to punish the students, I don't think that's reasonable. You're literally locking down the economy of Brownstown because it's mainly in Brownstown. Nationally, it is not happening all over the place. Manchester, Brownstown. So seek audience with the members of Parliament and ensure that your views are heard.
Despite calls for taxi operators to continue their protest action, they have returned to work. The One Voice Taxi Association has been pushing for a continuation of the withdrawal of service. However, some operators say they're satisfied with the changes made so far. More in this report.
Since withdrawing their services on Monday, some taxi associations have called on their members to resume service. But the One Voice Taxi Association is adamant that the protest must continue until the government addresses all aspects of their plight. Ian Lynch, a member of the One Voice Taxi Association, is chastising other taxi associations for the decision to have PPV operators return to work. He was speaking in Mandeville, Manchester last night.
The money you have to pay to the taxi association that only represent you January, February, and March after licensing period done.
You don't hear from them?
You hear from them again until next year. And the memorandum of understanding that they signed with Transport Authority is that the office must be open 5 days per week, 12 months per year. But it is only active during the licensing period, because for you to get your road license, you must come pay your dues.
He believes there is too much stacked against the motoring public, especially taxi operators. For one, he noted that the car restraint system would take up a seat that would cost more for a normal passenger, and if full fare is charged, then there will be other repercussions under the law.
So Transport Authority have already regulated that a child is a fare. So when you charge full fare, you now face Transport Authority who either revoke your license or charge you for that. Yeah, but you will tell people say anyway you turn, but I took it. That is what you're operating with.
The Justice and Education Ministries are seeking to expand the school's restorative justice program this year. This as the number of physical altercations at schools continues to rise. O'Shane Masters reports.
Graphic videos of school fights continue to flood social media each week. Education Minister Favour Williams says the government has taken note.
I don't know of anyone in Jamaica who is looking at those videos is really feeling good about it. We're not. Because you are the up-and-coming generation. And if you're beginning that with fighting, what kind of country are we going to have?
It's why the Education and Justice Ministries are hoping to ramp up its restorative justice program for schools across the island for 2023. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the program, which was implemented last year, seeks to change the mindset of students as it relates to conflict resolution and disagreements in general.
From disagreement, we grow. So nothing is wrong with disagreement, but it's how we deal with disagreements. There's no reason to be fighting, quarreling. You can disagree and tolerate other person's point of view.
Among the components of the program is the preventative aspect, which teaches and encourages students to firstly think before reacting violently to disagreements. In the event of a disagreement where someone is wronged, the second component, restorative justice, or RJ, is implemented.
And you bring the perpetrator and the victim together, and you try to talk it out. The benefit of that is it reduces reprisals.
The disagreement might be who was wrong, but at the end of the day, both might be wrong. So you both accept responsibility, apologize, and then restore the relationship. It is very important that we Jamaicans learn to get along. And I will be going into the schools with the team to urge the children to be repairers of the breach, because you children see what is happening.
The ministers were speaking at the Restorative Justice School function at the Hope Botanical Gardens in St. Andrew. The program is targeting 500 schools this calendar year, along with several communities, to teach persons to resolve disagreements peacefully. It is hoped that the program will eventually change what some describe as a worsening violent culture. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Everything must be done to retain Jamaica's teachers. That's according to Governor General Sir Patrick Allen as the migration of teachers continues. The details in this report. Over the last few years, a number of Jamaican teachers have been leaving Jamaica to take up jobs overseas. This is usually better opportunities, including more attractive salary packages. But Governor General Sir Patrick Allen says everything must be done to keep the teachers here.
And I want you to know that we have to do everything possible to retain our teachers. We have excellent teachers in Jamaica. And unfortunately, we have lost so many of our professors, of our teachers at the tertiary level, at the secondary level, and at the elementary level.
And with a high level of training and experience acquired locally, the Governor General notes that these teachers, as well as those in other professions, usually do well when they leave. This is why some do not return to the country.
And I think our UNAJ president here in Jamaica was talking about the excitement when Jamaica's name is called in international forum. Because if our teachers go abroad, they become the best teachers. If our athletes go abroad, they become the best athletes.
He added that despite Jamaica's high crime rate, which is noted by countries across the world, Jamaica still has a good track record.
There is a statue, a monument of Mary Seacole at the University of the West Indies and also in London. Mary Seacole, most famous of the Jamaicans, was a nurse who was involved in World War I, caring for people. She comforted the soldiers at Sevastopol.
And the Governor General was speaking at a function in St. Anne recently. It's now time for the Business Minute.
In the world of business, Grace Kennedy is constructing a new solar power system at its meats manufacturing facility in Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland. It will also install 2 liquefied natural gas engines at the plant. The facility will be able to generate up to 1,000 megawatts of clean energy, meeting more than 80% of its electricity needs and saving more than $1 million yearly in net energy cost by 2026. GK says the transition is a priority given the volatility of the global oil market with supply and price fluctuations. In business overseas, trade between the U.S. and China hit a record high last year, even as their diplomatic relations deteriorated. Official figures show imports and exports between the two countries totaled $690.6 billion in 2022. Relations between the countries have hit new lows in recent days after a Chinese balloon traveled across the U.S. airspace. Beijing denies U.S. claims it was used for spying. The world's 2 biggest economies have also been in a trade war since 2018. That's it for the Business Minute. I'm Cody-Ann Barrett.
And here's a preview of what's coming up in this evening's health report. In this evening's health report, we look at cirrhosis.
So the best way to know if the liver is injured is first of all to be aware of anything that you're putting into your body. So if it's a medication, usually there are side effects which are known. So it's important to know what those potential side effects are and what the frequency are to see if there are any interactions with any medications. If you're taking any products which are new products or products which are not well recognized or studied, any herbal products, over-the-counter supplements, you need to recognize if you have any symptoms to go get that checked out if you're not sure.
That's the health report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. Do not drink alcohol if you have cirrhosis. Eat a healthy diet. Maintain a healthy weight. And reduce your risk of hepatitis. And now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, a 4.0 magnitude earthquake rattled several parts of Trinidad on Wednesday. The Seismic Research Center also announced that an earthquake of magnitude 3.5 affected Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, and the French islands of Guadeloupe Wednesday morning. There have been no reports of damage or injuries so far. On the international scene, the death toll has risen above 11,000 in Turkey and Syria from the devastating earthquake that hit the region on Monday. Rescue crews are still finding survivors buried in the rubble, and countries across the world are working to quickly get aid to the affected areas. The United States has since deployed 2 search and rescue teams, which are expected to arrive in Turkey on Wednesday. Meanwhile, the United Nations has reported that the earthquake caused major damage to a major road leading to a crucial border crossing between Turkey and Syria, and that damage is slowly their relief efforts. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Raquel Porter for TVJ News.
Thank you, Raquel. We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report with Jordan Ford.